Welcome back to Your Favorite Exes.
And today we're talking about onions.
Well, we like the food too, but not the food.
We love onions. This is now a cooking podcast.
Well, we're talking about the international friendship onion.
Yes. So this is a topic that we've talked about like a bunch in our friendship. Yeah. The idea of this like perfect metaphor of an onion for friendship. So you have different layers. Onions.
Yes.
But like every relationship being rewarding, but different. So at your core, you probably have like us, which is like, I think last episode we talked about this, like you're like my elbow. Like this is just like, you're the core, you're the center. And then you have other really, really close friendships outside of that. Those are the people that you're probably talking to like more frequently, or maybe not even like you talk to them. But when you talk to them, those are the people like if a big thing happens in your life, that's the next layer of the onion. And then it gets like loosey-goosey, like all onions are different. Like we're not going to tell you that your onion needs to be the same as ours. But I think that it really changed our perception of this like model of where that fits in when you move and you become an expat. And that's why it's now like an international friendship onion. Because it changes. And I do think that it's fluid, but it's almost like fluidity on hyperdrive, because when you first move to a place, you could be so desperate for friendships that aren't necessarily what you go for typically, because you're desperate for connection.
Yeah, you want to meet people, you want to connect in any way possible. And that could mean literally, also you can make friends out of pure convenience.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're able to help me with something and I need help right now to understand what's going on. Or like you meet someone on the street and they're like, I can translate this for you. Or, you don't know anyone. And for example, I literally met someone on a plane.
That's wild. I still can't believe you did that.
So we were sitting next to each other. We started talking and she's like, yeah, I live in Barcelona. I don't really know many people. And I was like, yeah, we recently moved to Barcelona. And mind you, I was on a plane. This can be a side story. Going to Ibiza. Also going somewhere I only knew one person, but that can be a different story or a different day. But we were sitting and talking and we exchanged numbers by the end of this like hour flight, and we actually got dinner. We got dinner, became friends on social media, and ultimately we didn't continue our friendship. She ended up moving back to her hometown and everything, and she's not maybe somebody that I would have necessarily like been friends with long term, but you're at the point where like you're willing to meet anyone, you're willing to talk to anyone. And when someone else is looking for friends too, you kind of just go with the flow. So I feel like there's just different opportunities, whereas when you're living at home or when you have your friends in your friend group, you're less open to maybe just going to dinner with anyone or meeting new people. Whereas when you're put in a different environment, you're kind of pushed out of that comfort zone that you would have had with when you have a group that's kind of set and your people and you're in your routine, basically.
Yeah. I remember too, when I first moved here, I basically had a really interesting experience where like you had a whole community set up. So I was like, oh, I have like IKEA friends. Like they're just like there for me to build. And I was so excited because one of your friends had a kid. And so I hadn't had any mom friends where I was in Concord because, circumstance and pandemic and all that good stuff. So I was so excited to make a mom friend. And I was like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity. And I remember telling you going to dinner with her solo the first time because you had like introduced us. Yeah. I was like, I'm so nervous. How do people do this? Like, God forbid Trevor dies. Like, I can't date again. Like, it was just like a whole rabbit hole. Like a friendship mental breakdown. And then I get to dinner with her and like, we're having drinks. It's so good. I'm like, look at us go. And then she's like, I think I'm moving. I was like, this feels like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, but that's also like a very interesting part of being an expat that I didn't think about. Like, there's a bit of a transient community to being an expat, which is nice because I feel like it's almost easier to connect with people because you're meeting people who may not be from your country, but they are not from the country you're in. And that's really like a good foundation for a shared experience.
Yeah. Because she was from the country. She just wasn't from the city.
Yes. But sorry, I mean like she, not specifically in the case of this friend, but like other friends in general. It's just like a nice place to start. But yeah, I was like devastated. I was like, what do I do? I was like, I can't believe this. Like I made the friend. Also, I thought it like it was so there for me, like on a silver platter. And I think one of the things I've realized is like, it can take time. And also it is like you're dating. Like it's not that the friendships you meet first aren't important. And those might end up being like some of your most valuable friendships. But like the more people I've met now, the more I realize how I just wanted it to happen quickly. And I'm more willing the longer I've been here, like 7 months in, to like enjoy a friend spark. Because we love a good friendship spark.
We do. And there's different ways. Like, I mean, yeah, like you said, that to address the international friendship thing. It's so true because that just happened again. And that was very devastating because like,
it's me. I'm the problem. I moved here and the universe is like, you can only have one true friend to rule them all.
Really? I know. You moved and two close friends just said, bye, I'm going, I'm moving. I was like, okay, well, I get home, but like, oh my God. But you know what? I think about it also, like, it's so beautiful because you do make like you do find these close connections. And even though they're leaving, it doesn't really mean they're living your life. And I think that's the important. And you have friends all over the world. I think that's really cool in its own way. Like our really close friends just moved to Dubai and I miss them so much and they know that. And it was like, it doesn't devalue our friendship. And I think that's like the same idea as like us leaving Boston. It doesn't devalue the friendships we have in Boston. But it just reminds you that the other piece of long distance, like it matters. Like you do have to put that time in and that effort. But international friendships, I think that's one thing. When you're in a place where it's not necessarily your home, there's the risk of not only other people leaving, but also you leaving. Like, what if you don't end up staying here forever? Like, you don't know what you're doing yet. We are a little bit more stable, but that doesn't necessarily mean like we want. I don't ever say never, you know me.
And we're not. So like, it really is an experiment for us. So like, we don't know how long that we're going to spend here. So it's an interesting way to make friendships. But like, I do think the friend that moved to Dubai, it's funny because you realize like, I miss her. I've known her for like 4 seconds. And it's I would say to anybody who's considering being an expat and thinks they're going to be lonely in terms of like friendship, there's a piece of it that like we'll get into about the friends you leave behind. But it's almost like it shakes you out of like a stale period of not making new friends. And making new friends as an adult is like very weird, right? Because like you go to college, especially if you join a sorority, and it's like they're all around you. It's a buffet. And like when you go to a new job, like there are opportunities, but it's hard to make friends as an adult. And I think I forgot until that friendship that like, oh, I can get like excited about a friendship again. And I've texted her a bit, like could definitely work on my communication skills with 2 children under the age of 4, but like
you're working
it, right. But like it's nice to have that opportunity. And I think even though I was in a situation in Massachusetts where like I thought I would more easily make friends, I've made more friends living here in the past 7 months than I had in like 4 years of being in Massachusetts. And again, no shade to my town. And part of it was the pandemic, but I think also some of it was like, I was stuck in a routine and like moving internationally changes everything. In some ways, right? Or like at least gives you the opportunity to change the things you want.
Yeah. And I think that just generally getting to meet people also that when I say different, I mean, you're getting a different perspective on life because you're meeting people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. You're not just meeting people from like your town or your area, especially when you're in a city. I feel like you were out in the suburbs, so it's a little bit of a different experience than when you're in a big city, but getting to meet people, get to learn about different cultures, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I think it gives you a special kind of friendships. Yeah. That you learn from each other, you're growing, you're opening your mind. I think that I've learned a lot from the friendships I've built here, the community I've built, and got to have different traditions, like spending Christmas here, getting to spend it with friends, with their families too. It gives you it's very special. So I think if you're willing to be open about it and kind of go with the flow and be willing to be uncomfortable, I think that's something that is really tough for all of us. I don't think that is like a one person thing. Nobody likes being uncomfortable. I don't, like, nobody does.
Yeah.
But learning to be uncomfortable or go on that first friend date, like I said, like with my coworker who I really wanted to like become her friend, and I liked her, and then we exchanged numbers after.
Friend crush.
We were at work, and I was like, oh, like we got lunch. I'm like, can I have your number? Like, even you get to the different stages, and then you just get to the stage of being comfortable with someone, and that's just like a really fun. Like when you get to that point, you're like, okay, now we're just like friends. Like we're just chill. We're texting each other stupid things. Like it's not this like, hey, how are you? Like, do you want to get a drink? It's like, no, I'm texting you about something like random.
Yeah. There's something that's like familiar.
Yeah.
Throughout all friendships, even though your experiences might be very different than like if you went to college together, you came or grew up like similarly, like you could be from completely different walks of life. And then you have that moment where you're like, oh, that's like girl time.
It's like, we have that.
It has all languages. Like it's just,
and they're letting you into their groups. Like they're inviting you to with their friends from home or their communities. And I feel like people that have also been expats or like here that it's not like them their home are more willing to also bring you into their community because they remember what it was like when they moved here.
Yeah.
So
that's how you meet a lot of people too. Like at least for me, one through you, but even from like people at school, like I found that people are very eager to like make plans with you. I'm also in like a school era where like all the parents, we like have really little kids and we're like, hey, like, do you want to also go out and have like an okay time managing all the meltdowns together? But like, it's a weird, I think I thought of it differently moving here, that it would be like, oh, I had to like meet individual friends to like build friends or build a friendship circle. And it really isn't like that because you make one friend and you immediately have an opportunity to meet like 7 more people.
Yeah. It's really nice though, because that's how we've met a lot of people and become close through other people. And it's a really nice example. Like and you also have to be willing. A good example is when I was telling you I was going to Ibiza. It was because I actually went to camp in Barcelona when I was 15. That was the only time I had been here before moving. And I met a friend that we immediately clicked in camp. And then like 15 years later, she's living in Barcelona. She's not from here. She's living in Barcelona. And then we moved and like we've reconnected, like, in person again, because it's been a long time. And she's like super welcoming. And she immediately was like, come to my birthday. And I was like, okay. And like, I never met Chris, my husband, never. And I was like, I didn't think he was invited. So I didn't invite him. I was like, I'm going to go to Ibiza. And he was like, okay, do you know anyone? I was like, I just know her. And he goes, okay. I'm excited to go. Okay. So it was like a really funny interaction. He's super chill. I was like, do whatever you want. So here I am flying to Ibiza, making friends on the plane, like all this, like really early on in our time here. But from that trip, became really close with like a couple of our friends. And like through that, we're still like friends. And, it's a really nice, it doesn't mean you're making friends with everybody and close with everybody, but you find those friend sparks, or like we call it the long game. So I think there's a lot of special ways to make friends after work, through, going out there and through being a mom and school. There's meetups, obviously, especially in big cities. It's not just like Barcelona is a decently sized city, but like, they exist everywhere. And there's just lots of ways, but you do have to be willing to put yourself out there, do the uncomfortable thing, ask for someone's number. It's not always easy. And then you think about that you're building this new community and you're in the different layers of friendship and figuring out who's going to be in what layer and the connections, who you're seeing more than others, And also I feel like when you're, at least for us, international, like we're traveling a lot more.
Yeah. You guys were always out of the city.
We travel, but to other people.
Yeah.
So sometimes like you're missing each other because someone else is traveling. You don't see each other maybe for a month, but that doesn't, again, diminish your friendship. So I feel like there's just a lot of different ways to come abroad and find connections with people.
Yeah.
But also, I think another important part that we started talking about is the long distance part and the people you leave behind.
The original members of the Onion.
Your OG Onion people, your community. And that's always tough because, when you're here, you have your Onion sub, your group and your community, and people leave sometimes, like we said, and that's hard. But then there's the people you love and you want to keep that connection. You don't want to lose that. And there's so much to talk about there. And like long distance friendship is one of those things that, I've been doing it for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And
I'm a newbie.
You're chatting. What's not even just long distance, it's time zone. Adds another layer.
I think that's the thing too. Like you're almost prepped for it at this point in our lives, where friends have started to move away. Like I had a very idealistic idea in college that we were all going to live together in like a commune, essentially in Massachusetts. I was like, we're all going to live in town away from each other and like raise families together. And like, it's a very beautiful picture. And a lot of people do have that, right? Yeah. Like, I think especially people who like have friends from middle school, and because there's something about like where you grow up, people just tend to flock back, but I didn't. And so I had this whole idea of the people I met in college. I mean, that's everybody for the most part, besides one friend who was in my bridal party. Right. So, I think it was jarring for me to let go of that when people even started to move to like New York or, back to their hometowns. And so when you're not 30 minutes away anymore, you start practicing those long distance skills. But it is in some ways different when you have a 6-hour time difference, like you said.
Yeah. And you also can't get in a car and drive to the location. And you can't swim either.
To clarify, I know how to swim. Just not cross ocean.
I think that's pretty honest.
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll get it. So, yeah, I mean, it is different. I think you're coordinating. People have different schedules. People are working different hours. Sometimes it's helpful, and other times it's not. Experience both. Only one awake when, one of our friends is in medical school and, she's working crazy hours. Mm-hmm. Different, the ability to be up at 5 a.m. is, for me, it was like 6 hours ahead. Totally normal.
Right.
So, there's sometimes that it can like work.
Mm-hmm. When I was giving birth.
Yeah. So many things. I feel like that's like when we talk about, ways to maintain friendship. And I think this is the hardest thing. Mm-hmm. It's recognizing that everyone's a different communicator and texter, which is it's tough. And you have to get to know your friends and be willing to adjust with what people like. I feel like we're voice noters. Like we pretty much send each other voice notes, like podcasts, like shocking. Maybe why we started a podcast. But some people like like voice notes. Some people like just texting. Some people like phone calls. So it really just depends.
I mean, the one friend, like I hate talking on the phones so deeply. Like, and it's just like something that I feel like fell out of fashion. And then our one friend calls me, and like the first few times she would call me, I was like, is everything okay? Like I have a panic response to it. And now it's so normal, but like, it is funny. That's been so nice. Like she'll wake up and like go to walk her foster dog and ask us if we're free for a call. And it's so nice because it's limited. And I would say when you move 6 hours ahead, it also tends to be that you stay up late talking to people, which is fine sometimes, but that gets really, really tiring. And I remember that you would do it so much. Like, and I remember being like, Victoria, isn't it like midnight there? And you're like, yeah. I'm having a good time. And we're both extroverts. Let me just get energized. But like, you do need to give people grace, but also find a way that it can be reciprocal.
Yeah. And find a balance. I mean, sometimes you're sacrificing your time or sacrificing your sleep, whatever it is, but vice versa. Like we've had friends wake up in the morning and talk to us really early in their day, or set an alarm to make sure they catch us before work. So it has to go both ways. Friendship is never 100% like balanced, but if you're both putting in the effort, even a little bit, that's what really matters.
Yeah.
And I feel like even 20-minute phone calls, like here and there, keep you updated on the small things in life. And I used to think that when I used to get on a call and I would need this like 4-hour catch up, it's been a long time and we needed to cover everything step by step in our lives, like from start to finish. And I realized after a while, I'm like, honestly, that's just like exhausting. And then you never actually get to the point you're just talking.
Yeah, because you're always playing catch up.
Yeah. And
you lose a sense of normalcy. And like the feeling, like we were saying, like with the other friendships too, right? Like you just want that sense of like, oh, we're like talking about, I went to a coffee shop today and like
the small thing.
Yeah, like a funny, it's just
this funny thing happened. Or this one person said something and like, oh my God, I just like,
there's a closeness in like the little details, not just the big life updates.
And I think that you can find different ways to give that. And I think that's like the biggest thing I've learned, because I feel like I stayed close with like all of our friends from home. And like, it's really nice to know it's possible. Like, I feel like I haven't lost closeness with like the majority of them.
Yeah.
And obviously relationships change over time, but the closest in the sense of like, I know what's going on in their lives. Like I get the updates. Like some of us will do like the podcast voice notes that are forever. Others like are quick phone calls. Setting up regular check-ins, or remembering their birthdays, or remembering they're getting a promotion, or those little things, and doing something small, sending a card, sending something. It just shows people that no matter where you're located in the world, like they matter to you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like a scary thought that if I'm going to lose my friendships, it's going to change. But we're in our 30s now. Like, regardless, we have no time. We're planning things like a month in advance. We're like, it's like impossible.
Right.
Time. You have kids, like that adds a whole other layer of like doing things like,
Yeah, no, I do. I'm familiar. I think it's also though, like one of the things I've thought about is people have different ways of showing up. And so I do think that one hard part of being an expat is like, there will be people who are just more in-person people.
Yeah.
And as much as it would be great to do the things that we're talking about, it just doesn't work for some people. And so I think there's an adjustment that you have to make, and like a piece you have to have about this situation, and like understand that they still love you the same amount. You're just going to need to like find a way to do that. And sometimes it's not financially possible to find in-person time. But I think one of the things that's worked really well for us is girls trip. Having an annual girls trip, because we know that, and I mean, it sounds like sad that it's just one time a year, but it hasn't felt sad.
No,
it's felt really joyful, and just like a great way to fill up our cups again. And I think that everyone has the experience of like, those moments matter, like the phone calls, FaceTimes, voice notes, but it also matters to have that in-person time. So I think there's something nice about picking a spot and just coming together with people you love and getting that like,
and being out. We unplugged from work.
I
feel like, how often do we get times where we're truly unplugged?
Yeah.
And focused on each other and not worried, I have a meeting tomorrow, I have to get up early, or whatever, when my kids are going to wake me up at 5 a.m., whatever it is. Like truly getting that time and making it priority once a year. Is it a week? Is it a long weekend? And making that effort, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you can plan a visit, either way, that's important. And I don't devalue that. And like, it's tough when you go back home as an expat, because you're having to, balance a lot of things, which can be a whole other topic, going home. But if someone comes visit you, you can take time off and also have that focus be them. So if you can find a balance of all those things, I do think it's possible to really keep the connections that you have and even strengthen them. It doesn't even have to be maintained.
I don't want to say like social media. It's like silly. I'm sending memes. But like, that's fine. Like someone thought of me.
True.
Yeah. No, it feels like a little act of love.
Yeah.
Especially because it's curated just for you.
Exactly. So I think if you can find different ways, it doesn't have to be perfect. Knowing your friends and giving grace to the friends that aren't good texters. Like, definitely have friends that aren't good texters, but that doesn't mean they care less. You just recognize that like they're giving what they can give. And I know they're making the effort when they are doing that thing.
I think also like we talk about girls trip and that is wonderful. And I don't think you can replace in-person time, but there's something about like for people who have a hard time with like the phone call and the text, if you like make an event, like if you're like, oh, like we just did this, right? We were like, oh, we're going to have like a girlies with goals call. Like there's something about setting time to like meet, even if it's virtually, especially like, again, there's a lot of privilege involved in like, especially you move internationally, there's like a lot of financial costs associated with that. But like you make time to be like, we're all coming together.
Yes.
Big like pandemic vibes. Like we're all getting on with like a glass of wine or coffee, depending on when you're done. Mimosas are for any time, always. But like you come together with a little group and it's so nice. And it does feel like it's almost in the in-between place of it's not as, not personal, but like it's closer than a text. And then just like a little bit of a step back from the in-person hug.
Yeah, it's nice. I love that. I'm excited. Yeah. But these are the things like you can be so busy. We're all busy. Like there's always something going on in life. But these little moments, if you can plan them in, schedule the regular check-in, even if the check-in's once a month.
Yeah.
Like if you think of your friend, send them that. Like you don't have to have a whole conversation. It can be like, thought of you. I sometimes see random photos. I'm like, remember this?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be this big thing for the people that aren't as good as the back and forth. Recognize when your friends are super busy with something, like friends in medical school, like always busy, always like just rough schedule. But again, doesn't minimize what you have with them. And yeah, we'll have another, I think, episode around going home because I think that's a whole other topic and it's not as frequent. Like we do our best. But again, it's fine. It's expensive. And like, I wish I was like a billionaire. I would love to be going back all the time. But you have to work within your means too. But I think regardless of that, it's possible to maintain. And I think that part is really special if you take these little tidbits and you make it a priority. And when you communicate, it's intentional.
Yeah, it's almost like making it a ritual to connect with friends. And I know I have like one friend who we would send each other like long form podcasts. And it's kind of like what you were talking about before, where we've made a point to not just do big updates. Like it's regular and it is like these little things. Like she was like, I got these boots I really liked and I was really excited about them. And I was like, that's the kind of thing that maintains a closeness that is different than just like, I know the big things. It's like, I feel like I'm there in a way. And I love the way that it's so funny because she wasn't really like a big voice noter. And she was like, I have a whole thing. I like get snugly with a blanket. I have my coffee, maybe a little snack. I put in my headphones. Like she's listening to it like a podcast. And she was like, I feel like I'm having a conversation with you, but because we're both moms and like, even if we were in the same time zone, it would be difficult to do. It feels like it's special for you. It's the same as the meme thing, right? It's like somebody made this just for you specifically with like your special jokes and also hearing what's going on with them and like their grievances. And it feels like somebody is living alongside of you, even if they're an ocean away.
It's really, really nice. I do that with my walks to work. I have like, because I love walking to work because as long as we're in this weather, this week has been chilly. But
chilly.
Okay, don't listen. Don't in Boston listen to that. But and generally, I always walk to work because it's so nice and like it gets my body moving in the morning. It's about 30 minutes, and perfect. And that's the time like listen to voice notes. I'll send my rambly voice note back to the people that like voice notes. I will not send anyone voice notes.
Hey, we've converted friends.
Facts. I also recognize people that like super long voice notes. You gotta know your friends. I feel like that's the biggest thing I've learned.
What do you think our longest voice note has ever been?
20 minutes.
I think that's right. I was going to say 17, but I think we might have cracked.
No, we've cracked 17. I think in like the 20s for sure. For sure. I've seen a 20-something minute voice. It was like 21 or something like that.
That makes me feel loved. Getting a 20-minute voice note, I'm like, you really love me.
I love it. Are you kidding me? It's like my joy. I'm like, I'm just going to put this to the side. Like, I really, really love it. I know some people will see that and actually stress. Like, I tell Chris and he's like, I just know. Like, he's not okay with voices for like 20 minutes. So he was like, oh,
yeah.
Crazy. But then again, we've talked for 8 hours straight on the phone. So
That's also true.
Don't
catch us on a plane. You don't want us the next one.
You don't. But the point is that like, no matter how you communicate, if you are putting any effort that you can and taking the time to do it, whatever that looks like, it's like your friend or whoever is on the other end will appreciate just that. It doesn't have to be, there's no perfect way of being a friend or perfect way to communicate. And I think that sometimes we get caught up in that, like, I'm not doing enough as a friend. I'm not giving enough. But if you're giving when you can give and your friend knows you enough to like, be like, yeah, she's trying. She's doing what she can.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where you give each other grace. I think in general in friendship, but especially long distance friendship, it's like you said, empathy, grace, being understanding. Because in our lives, like it only gets harder the older we get. And like,
like let's communicate our needs too. That's a big thing. I think like sometimes we just let things happen. And again, being an expat is such a specific thing because you do get the opportunity to like really reevaluate your life and all of the ways that you kind of move through it. And friendship is one of those. So if you feel like you need more from someone, like telling them is good. And like not in a way that's so like, I demand this of you. But I also think sometimes like people mirror behavior. So like if you do something that you would like your friend to see more, sometimes it just naturally like,
or and even just tell them that, like for if something big happened, don't just wait for someone to ask you,
right?
Say, this happened to me. And let them know that big thing happened or the exciting thing, or you got that promotion or whatever it is, or the difficult thing that happened. Like sometimes I feel like we wait, we want some people to ask, how are you? But we're just as capable to share and allow our friend the space to support us either way. Happy or sad.
I would say too, like one of the things I think about is the ways you could show up. Like if you were listening to this and you're not an expat, but you have an expat friend and you're like, oh, what could I be doing? We have a friend who sends us Christmas cards, which I find so endearing because like it's hard to receive things here. Like you have to pay some sort of like tax
for things that are packages.
Like a big thing. But like I love that you can send a Christmas card with like 3 global stamps. And it's just like such a sweet, like it took so long to get here, but like it's getting there. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's a nice little reminder of home, like the idea, because that's different, right? Like we don't get Christmas cards in the same way. And like, sometimes people like send us a card and be like, here's a picture of it. And I'm like, I like that too. But like there's something really, there are small things you could do that are very much appreciated. When you're maybe missing home and missing like your friends.
No, I think it's great. And I think it's just important to remember that we are all people and we all are trying our best to navigate friendships, life. So I think giving that grace, doing what we can is really important in in-person relationships like here in your new community and learning, being uncomfortable, all that stuff we said, plus the long distance and continuing those friendships. So,
and just be nice to yourself. Because you only have, I love the phrase of you have unlimited love, but you don't have unlimited time. And so I've found it's nice to like give yourself the space and the time to pursuing those new friendships and like bring your other friends into it. like, I love sending a voice note to a friend from home about meeting a new friend or being nervous about making a new friend. Because then it really feels like you're not trying to replace people. You're trying to like bring them along in this experience with you. And I think that was something that like you did a lot of. And that's why I felt like when I met your friends here, we both, like all of your friends and me were like, it's you. Like we were so excited. We felt like we knew each other because like there's a way to do it where you're just adding, but it's fluid and it just makes sense. It doesn't have to be a one or the other, but just like keep in mind, you're going to have to put in more effort if you do want to make new friendships. But you can only do so many things. Like when you first get to a place, like get your lights on, like have water, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. Like
The base.
there are like basic things. You don't have to do everything all at the same time. And then when you're really pursuing friendships, like just let that be a thing that can take up space. Cause I think sometimes people think of it as like, oh, well, it'll happen. And sometimes that's true, right? Like you can make friends at any point in time, but like there's something specific about moving to a new place where like you can make space for that and you can bring other people you love into it.
I love that. And it's true. Like the more you talk about your friends from home or you talk about things, it's like it's express like who you are. Like a lot of what things I've done or with my friends from home, like so when you're talking about it and you're still talking about things, like they feel like they know each other. And that's why I feel like it's so seamless when you did come with the friends that you have met.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it special. And there's no jealousy. There doesn't need to be. We all can be friends. Like everyone brings something special to your life.
Yeah.
In some sort of capacity. And we connect with different people. We connect with the same people differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes full and life and a connection so special.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I absolutely love and I know you love it too.
And now they're on Girls Trip.
I know.
Like that's amazing too. Now, and it's so funny too, because I feel like our friends are like, now we're an international girls group. Like it's like fun.
From Greece.
I know.
Close friend from Greece, like that I've known since like camp.
Mm-hmm.
But she's now went and visited a friend in New York and like seeing so it's just like bringing people together also like brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
But I also I think another point that you said, and I feel like I'm jumping around a little, but when you said it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Like, and think about how long it takes to like really build a connection with someone. It's been years that we've been friends, years that we've been friends with other people. It takes time to build a connection. So yes, you have sparks with people, but it takes time to get to know someone.
Yeah.
In different situations and have them open up to you or you open up to them. So it's okay to give yourself that grace of over time and pick one or two people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be so many friends. It can be like, I have a couple of really close friends that like, I have here that are really special to me and I see more often. And then I have other friends that like I can go to a party with.
Yeah.
Like we said, layers. It's good to have layers because you only have limited amount of space and time. But whenever you are in that like space, give all that you can give.
Yeah. And also like know thyself. Cause like, your onion's different than my onion. Like, especially I'm a mom. And so I don't have as much like physical or emotional capacity. Like you definitely see people more often. And I love that for you. But I like couldn't have as many friends as you do. Again, you made a friend of the plane. Like,
Okay.
but that's really beautiful. That's true for you. And it wouldn't be as true for me. So I think it's also like, you don't have to follow, there's no prescriptive model. You're not like being a bad expat if you only made like one good friend. You made one good friend. That's awesome. Like
you have a connection.
That's great. And also that one good friend you could have forever. Yeah. Like it really is a matter of figuring out what fits best for you. And you'll figure it out soon.
Yeah. And it's exciting. It's worth it. I think
it's worth
all the uncomfort, all the feelings that come with it. It's worth it in the long run. And even if you leave, you make friendships that will last forever. You're traveling back to Spain. Maybe you're going to Germany. Maybe you're going to Switzerland. I'm naming places now, but like
we bring us globe. It's a cooking show. It's a geography show.
Geography lesson. Are we learning?
Oh, it's so good. I think though, I would love to hear if anyone is listening and has their own stories about making friends internationally, or just in general, like long distance friendships too. Because I think it all, goes along the same line.
Questions of how, like, if you want to share a story or you want advice on something,
let us noodle around.
Yeah, I was hear about it because friendship it's a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this book now, which I really like. I'm not done with it. It's about like, basically, it's called Platonic. It's basically about friendships.
I like how we're both so into reading and so into friendship. I thought I knew what book you were talking about, but I'm reading a different book about friendship.
Yes, we're reading 2 different books about friendship. This is how you can tell we're really interested in the relationship. Like, truly, yes, you have your partner, whoever that is, but friendship is a relationship. You're nurturing it. Yes, okay, maybe it's a different, obviously, than living with your partner, whatever relationship you have with them, maybe kids, but it's still a big part of your life. And like, there's so many times Chris has been like, have you talked to like Bob about that? Have you talked to like, my other friends about that?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, I'll either say yes or no. It depends on like what part of my like rabbit hole I'm in or something. And he's like, I don't know if I can help you more than like, and you get different things from different people. And that's a whole other episode in itself. But I think ultimately is what we're saying. You can get different things from different people. There's different layers that your friendship onion, how it looks. Yeah. It looks different to everybody. And learning about yourself. Like you said, I think you said it really well. Learning about what your friendship onion looks like and what you need and what you can give. And realizing whatever that is enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be more.
We're enough.
You are.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love if you consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. And for more content, you can find us on our YouTube channel or on socials like TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook at either Your Favorite Exes or Your Favorite Expats. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to tell us your thoughts in the comments, DM us, or shoot us an email at yourfavoriteexpats@gmail.com.